Welcome, everyone, to episode 160 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. We are recording live this July 29th, 2021. We're so glad you're here. How much can change in a week with our SQEX community mobile stream and our GL First character, Core? All that and so much more on tonight's episode. Before we begin, thank you everyone who's joining us live. Thank you for joining us if you're joining us on the video on demand or on your favorite podcast app. If you are on YouTube, please like, sub, and ring the bell. If you are joining us live on Twitch, consider following us and supporting us with a subscription. And if you're on your favorite podcast app, please give us a great rating. Make it good. I am joined by my lovely co-hosts. First, it is Arrow. Arrow, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been doing orientation for going back to my job, working with those kiddos. It's been an interesting week, been a pretty good week. I don't know how it's going to work with these kids this year. It's going to be interesting. That's pretty much my thoughts on it right now. Back to you, Mark.
And we're also joined by Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you?
I'm good.
Great.
That's all I got.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have a lot more to say here as we talk about so much. Well, a couple things. First, we have a victory lap because #FixKadaj, which we talked about in great detail last week, worked. Not only did #we did it, thank you, Time Zoe. Not only did we get the notification that, yes, in fact, Kadaj was bugged, which we all knew, we also got a fix, and Kadaj is working as intended. So thank you to all the content creators who went out of their way to sound the alarm, to spread the news. And this is exciting, and this is something we should be, and you might be saying, well, I don't care. I didn't pull Kadaj. It doesn't matter. There was something that was broken. It wasn't communicated to us, and it is fixed because we went out of the way to say, hey, this was something that needed to be fixed. And so now you need to listen and make sure that you're communicating to us when things are not working as intended. That is part of the amazing customer service relationship that we all live in. Andrew Zane says, now we can go back and say Kadaj sucks. Yeah, we can have those wonderful conversations. But now at least he sucks because of how he is, not because of a bug. Arrow, how do you feel about #FixKadaj as someone who doesn't have Kadaj?
Okay, I've experienced the Kadaj type thing before. Like I said with Lion last week, I'm really happy you guys got your fix and didn't have to wait 6+ months for a shadow fix out of nowhere. So I'm very happy. I hope in the future, should this ever happen again, that it will be corrected quickly so that we can use these characters while they matter, because we have a 2-month window, generally speaking, to really use these characters in a way that is feasible for most people. So I'm happy about it. I really am. So congrats, Kadaj players. You deserved it. That's my thoughts. Back to you, Mark.
Mino, what do you think? Thank you, Shadowheart, for the gift sub. Appreciate that.
I got more to say on that coming up, so I'll save it for then. But good job, guys. Got it done.
And thank you, Raw Life, for the sub. Had a couple other subs earlier on. Do want to shout you out. Just remind me who it was. Oh, I think Pikachu Games was one of those. Sorry, as I can't scroll back a little further. Hey, last week we talked about Kurasame's call ability, and I made it much more confusing than it needed to be. So just to clarify how his call ability and stacks work, when you use his regular call ability, he applies 2 stacks on all enemies, and the enemy you're targeting gets an additional +1 stack. Of course, when enemies take a turn, they go up, goes up to 5, and then it resets. If you bring in the LD, after you have already applied the debuff, it adds 2 to each stack on each enemy. If you bring it in from nothing, so if you bring the LD call in and they do not have the debuff on, it just starts at 2 stacks. So if you want to get it to 5 stacks without the enemy taking a turn, you can use the call ability and then the LD ability, and at least one of the enemies will have 5 stacks. Doesn't need to be that complicated. It probably doesn't matter, but you can definitely make your gameplay of the use of the LD ability much better. So, hey, there are also some news. We do have a whole list of known issues. Porum and Vivi's follow-up attacks are not triggering at the start of the next wave, apparently. In that situation, Kadage's EX is still considered magic, so that is technically a bug, although not the end of the world. And certain brave damage per debuff characters are still bugged. We did fix that with a couple of the characters, but there's still bugs in there. So, Mino, did you have something to add on that?
Yeah. First, Excalibur has a great tip on the Kurasame call that I'm gonna steal. I wasn't doing this. He says, just apply the first call.
Yeah.
Let them have a turn.
Yes.
And then hit with the LD call. Then everyone's at max stacks.
Everybody would be at 5. Yep.
That's so much better. I've been playing that wrong. So that's a pro tip for everybody out there. The second thing is, this is related to the Kadaj thing. I was getting questions and I answered it sort of in the questions channel of our Discord, but a lot of people were I guess we could move this conversation up to now, but people were saying, why were certain fixes so much faster than Kadage's? Why did Kadage take 2 months, whereas the Cypher thing was almost immediate? The debuff bug was almost immediate, and then now the Porum VV thing is reported like immediately as well. So to address what it was, so what I've heard is how you submit the feedback matters. Yeah. I know not everyone agrees with this one way or another, but the thing is, when the Cypher and the debuff thing was initially reported in GL feedback, if you go look in the channel, the person that reported it included the gameplay alongside it, showing exactly why it didn't work with a detailed thing, right? Yeah. And I don't know whatever happened with the Lion thing, but I know that the SQEX staff has said that video evidence of it working is a big thing, because otherwise how it works is things are reported, they need to corroborate that among different sources, like if it's being reported from multiple sources, so it's not just like one person mistaken, then they have to replicate the testing, and then they have to find the source of the bug, etc., etc. If you submit a video walkthrough of it, they get to skip a lot of steps, and it becomes a lot faster to confirm and fix. I know I've heard people say, well, then they just want us to do their job for them. I'm not gonna tackle that. But the point is, if you do want to see faster results, the reason why the debuff thing was so much faster was because video was right away. The Kadaj video started pouring in after that. Yeah. And then they had to acknowledge it after there were so, like, like the EX gravity shave counting as magic. That was proven in a video and wasn't part of the fix Kadaj thing, and that got addressed much, much faster. And same with the VV Porum thing. I think it's because of all the callouts, because of the fix, because of Kadaj Gate, period, that it seems like the known issues thing is coming up a lot more frequently. That's something I personally called out on a lot of streams, saying, hey, we used to get these acknowledged known issues way more frequently. Where have they gone? And now they're coming every week, as they should, which is very, very good. So thank you for that. That's a result of the campaign, if anything. So if anyone's asking why did these two things get addressed way faster than the Kadaj thing, they're your answers.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And like you said, if it's something that we're passionate about, we can provide the evidence. And obviously it would be ideal if the company did that themselves, but are they looking for all the bugs? That we're the ones that are playing the game. So,
Raw Life is saying, well, last time we had video evidence, we were told directions to JP chat though. While that's a hilarious meme now, I understand it's because it was using, as they said, it was using dev footage. I'm sure if
Yeah.
Necklord, and I'm not putting it on Necklord, but if Necklord had personally recorded the live
Yeah.
version of Global and JP and compared it, better results. I'm not saying that was the best way to respond to that. I don't think it was at all, which is why it's a meme now. But that's the technicality, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, there are a couple sales going on, and I think it's great. First of all, good on SQEX. We're always, Mino and I always trying to get the company to make more money. And so sure enough, I said it as we were doing something with the core costume and release. Sure enough, as soon as core was released, we have another blue armor pack available for purchase. I originally said I'm sure we're going to get it at the Triple BT banner because those are 3 tempting blue armors, right? And so that's a good time for them to make some money. And here's a GL first. People don't have things for blue armor, or they know, oh, I need blue armor for Tidus, or I want blue armor for Cloud of Darkness for some reason. And so good on you, SQEX. I hope you're making some money. I did not buy both of them. I did buy one of them, and I did blue core. So we'll talk about that. Thank you for the follow. Cassisis? I didn't quite get that all the way. There's a lot of S's in there. So there's also a core costume. I'm not a big fan of it, very personally, but it is what it is. It his suit. It's his Royal Guard costume. His costume actually looks a little bit more. It looks very similar to Ignis's costume, his Royal Guard costume. So I think if the costume itself looked a little bit different, I haven't sat and compared them. Just immediately they look different. But I kind of like his main look pretty much. But I know Jin Lee bought his costume, and Rez bought his costume too. So if you want old man, salt and pepper, although I don't know why his hair gets blonde. Like his hair gets like my shade of hair color the older he gets. Like, yeah, I wasn't born with black hair, and it's gotten this way. So I'm not really sure what. It does look like the guy from Jack from Origins from the. Finally you can make an old man team. There's a lot of old men in this game. I don't know if you Core's like 35. He's certainly not the oldest men of the old man team there. Yeah, grizzled old men in their 30s. Oh, but hey, if you like it, buy it. We always know these GL first, whether they're LDs or new characters, come with beautiful costumes. So I shouldn't say that because Aranea did not come with a costume on release, and Beatrix did not come with a costume on release. So
right.
Yeah, that sucks. But since we got the LD first LDs, all of them had costumes, and of course now we have a costume for them. We also got stream rewards, so make sure you grab your stream rewards. We always get those. Thank you, SQEX. Free resources. Hooray, hooray, hooray. I believe we looked it up, and Core is 35.
45.
35 at the time of the game. He was 15 when he fought with Regis. He was a Bobby.
45 at time of game, 55 post time skip where the costume is.
Are you sure it's 45-55 or 35-45? I think it's 35-45. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I did read he was 15 when he fought with the old guys with Sid and
okay. If he was 15 during the journey, he said that was 30 years ago.
Okay. So
he's 45 during the game, 55 for costume time skip.
Got it. There you go. So he is 45, looking good for 45. And then when he gets 55, his hair gets a little lighter, not white, but blonde. So it's a weird thing in their world. Your hair turns orange. Oh, all right. Hey, well, we had a SQEX community mobile stream with SQEX Joshua and SQEX Crystal. And boy, what an improvement over last month. Props to Joshua and Crystal. Real smooth. Started with the surprise. Didn't hold it out like some, American Idol. Are they going to get it? Aren't they going to get it? Kind of crap. Started right off the gate. Of course, it was the first event, so that may have had something to do with it. The co-ops are real smooth. The whole stream was a lot better in my opinion. So props for them. I'm sure they listened to our takeaway and our advice. But the best thing, we're going to break down some of this stuff, but the best thing from that entire stream was we got caught, as Black Nero would say, in 4K because we all thought there was no more GL first characters, and Joshua had the receipts. And he brought it into the stream. You could see the glee in his eyes, just wanting to shut down all of the potential. Wait a minute, you said there was never going to be another GL first character, and he said, no, that is not what I said, and we were wrong. So, Mino, what do you think about that?
Well, a couple of things. So, I mean, I got recent confirmation, so I kind of got to eat my words from, I think it was last week we were talking. I was like, where's Josh anymore? We don't see him around anymore. He used to come to our streams. I don't know if he watches the show anymore. Apparently, he still very much watches the show and the ranting hour and fireside chat and other streams. So while I've been mouthing off every week, thinking it was going unheard, he is still very much paying attention. So with that in mind, I will say the community as a whole did push the fix Kadaj thing. We did affect a lot of things, like having the known issues pop up more. And I'll take credit for the stream thing too, right? Instead of breaking up every slide, every co-op, they did a handful of co-ops and then like machine gun the slides one after the other. I know all of us have been bitching about how they've been running the stream format for a long time, and that we really don't need to sit through so many co-ops. The stream doesn't need to be that long, and we don't need one co-op per slide. I felt like that was one of the things that reached them. And the other thing was, what was the last thing you listed, Mark? It was, how do you feel about something that happened during the stream? Oh, no, right. Getting caught.
Yes.
So that's on us. Even TCC has said that there's probably going to be no more GL first characters.
Sure did. You can find receipts.
That's on us. That's on us. I mean, we got caught is all I had to say. There are some people out there who are angry about being fooled and saying that's Josh's fault for communicating poorly. No.
Nope, that's us.
That's us. And also a lot of you
100%.
revealed you don't even watch the streams.
Yeah.
So like you're just hearing the information secondhand, and you're accusing him of and finally is what was I gonna say? Oh, right. TCC. Oh, right. In hindsight, it's so stupid that we thought a company would say indefinite terms, never again. Right. That's just
never
not.
Say never.
That's not in PR speak. Yeah. Why would they limit their options like that and say never again? That's on us. Yeah. In hindsight, there's no way any company would have ever said they will never do something again.
Arrow, did you watch the stream? Any initial thoughts before we talk about some of the things we heard?
I did watch the stream, and I was on Resfoina's server when watching the stream, because that's just kind of my habit now. And when the music first started and then there was Gilgamesh, I thought, oh, maybe we're getting early Gilgamesh LDBT. That'd be pretty cool. And then Core showed up. I was like, no way. Because I was like, no, they just did not do that. And I was so like, I watched the initial video, and I was like, I have to have Core by the end of that. I was set. So they got me good. I really couldn't. I was super hyped. I was like, very excited. So very cool. That's pretty much my thoughts. I'm really glad that we're maybe going to get other future GL first. I just hope that they'll be balanced appropriately. I think it might be a little easier now going forward because, the content and the way it goes. So I don't think we'll ever have another RNA. Maybe, but, never say never, right? Because we didn't think we were getting any more global first. So
never say never.
Yeah, never say never. So we'll see how core plays out. I'm really excited. And I can't wait to talk more about him when we get to that section.
Yeah, it unfortunately, and Black Nero talked about this on the Ranting Hour, I believe, so you can check that out on Black Nero's YouTube. Unfortunately, it does open the floodgates. We had a respite of about 6 months, 5 or 6 months of, there's not going to be any LD first or any new characters, and so Riku when, Sora when, all that kind of stuff, Red 13 when, all that stuff. Thunder God Sid when all that had been out the window, and now the floodgates are open. So I want to personally thank SQEX Joshua or maybe I should thank us. Maybe we should thank ourselves for spreading misinformation and shutting down all of
I'm sure we weren't the only
ones,
Mark. I'm sure we weren't the only
potential no, we weren't. But for our misinterpretation of the information and shutting down all of the hashtag when whatever dumb character you want, because now that's back on the table. So go ahead, folks. Sora when, Riku when, Red 13 when, Thunder God Sid when, who else do you want? Goofy and Donald when. I don't think that's in the works. There's a lot of money, red tape there. Before we can get Mickey Mouse, yeah. So Chrono Trigger when. There we go. Mark when. Yeah, you could have young Mark, old Mark costume. So good times. But I'm excited. Hey, I'm always a fan of GL firsts. I'm a fan of a GL first in the middle of a period. Like who was? It's not a, not a celebration. There's no special events. Just hey, here's a GL first. It's like happy Tuesday. So very good. Good on you, SQEX. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk all about Core, the immortal King Reaches when in a minute. But let's talk about a little bit else from the SQEX community stream first. Couple quality of lives. We have a status effect window update. So when you press on a character in the midst of a battle, it will pop up with a whole bunch of information that details what all the buffs are, lets you know how much HP you have, let you know how much HP the enemy has left. You can also mess around with that in the battle settings. And starting August 20th, so this is not current, but it will be towards the end of the month, co-ops will no longer drop artifacts for the synergy characters. Co-ops will drop artifact tokens. And so you can have a shop that you can go to and choose your own artifacts like our current artifact shop. So those were the quality of lives that we have. And
that came very early, by the way, that artifact change, because they introduced it a few weeks to months after Chaos Co-op became the norm. And the problem was because it was flooding the inventory with artifacts, right? Like you see how much you get in Chaos. In BT Plus era, you're farming it as fast as you farm Cosmos co-ops. So people who ran books had to literally stop and sell before they could do their books. So thank God we got it before that came up. So very nice quality of life.
So all of you hoarders who have like 200 inventory spots are finally... You're finally fine. The egg on our face for having 8, or I have 800. I never went up to 900. But yeah, all of us who have upped our inventory spots so that we have more rooms for artifacts. We've been fooled. Our bad. We wasted those 1,000 gems. Crap. I don't know what I'm going to do if I had 1,019,000 gems instead of 1,020,000. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm really excited about that and glad we can get that as well. Status effect window, it's not really a big deal to me, but Arrow, any thoughts on that change?
Oh, I am so happy about the status effect window change. There are certain characters where you have to remember to keep up with a lot of buffs or whatever. And now that you can easily see the timer on them, when you click over the character, is thank God. Now I don't have to remember, okay, which buff is which, and then go, okay, it's that one. That's the one that has 3 turns left. You have to keep swapping between screens. Oh, don't got to do that anymore. That's so good. I'm so happy. And then the other quals that kind of came about. Okay, so I did do I remember the Chaos Co-op we just had, and my inventory was getting full. I do have the 900 space thing, and I was having issues when running ×2 books, guys. I was running ×2 books on Gilgamesh Co-op and filling up, and I mean, like, it was really annoying. I still have a bunch of artifacts from that, and I'm still trying to clear out the inventory with, the current stuff. So I'm really glad about that change too. I know it's coming later this month, but I'm really glad that it's coming because I like to farm with ×2 books, and I'm so glad, and ×3 books. So I don't like dealing with co-op any longer than I have to. And now I don't have to worry about my inventory ever filling up. I can just run to my heart's content and never worry about it. So great stuff. I have no complaints. These were good quality of lives to come this month, and some of them coming early. Mino?
Yeah, the UI change is nice. It's always just better communication. As people are saying, it's similar to the thing JP just got, which was there's a little EX charge meter next to each character's portrait, so you can see how far along their EX is charged instead of having to wait till their turn, which is would be a godsend on someone like Eld, and how my play revolves around his EX charge and trying to remember if it's fucking up or not. But yeah, no. Anything that's better communication is better. This is similar to they want to differentiate the buff and debuff symbols later. Like, anything is good.
Yeah. So thank you again, SQEX. Early quality of lives are always appreciated. Always appreciated.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of early quality of lives, JP just got the 20-second co-op timer. So
yeah, realize GL has several quality of lives that JP still does not have. So, when we're talking about the 2 different versions of the games, it's not that JP has everything and we don't. We have some early quality of lives that they still don't have, and some GL first quality of lives, and of course some GL first LDs and GL first characters. So, yeah, there you go. Catching up on the other end of things as well. We also got the upcoming calendar, which would include, of course, Cloud of Darkness's cycle and Tidus's cycle. On top of this, there's going to be 2 special campaign missions. I believe they're both with Tidus's cycle. And I don't know what JP had on these 2 banners, because my assumption, one is going to be on the 20th and one is going to be on the 30th of August. My assumption is it's going to relate to these 2 banners that JP got. I don't know what events happened during that time, but we are going to get events that I believe JP did not get, which are Lufenia Perfectum events, where you will have to beat 3 Lufenias with kind of the heretic style thing, where so you have to bring 3 different teams. We don't quite know what it's going to look like. There's going to be co-ops with it. But the first banner, I would assume, on the 20th is going to be Setzer and Waka with Tidus cycle. And then the second banner on the 30th will most likely be the triple BT banner, Von, Kefka, and Arden with their LD and BT. Again, I don't know what the events were in Japan on those 2 banners, because those were the banners they got in Japan. But those are apparently the events we're going to get here in GL. And they're going to be kind of a variant on Abyss, or kind of a variant on Heretic. So it's going to be something new and something exclusive to GL for the time being. So we'll give it a try, and hopefully it's going to be good. Mino, any thoughts on this new content?
Extra content's always good content.
Yeah.
And my favorite type of content are the lockouts. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, reading the community this week after Core's release. People really don't like being locked out. We'll get more to that later, but yeah. I think lockouts are how I like to play. That's why Abyss and Entropy are fun, because it forces more creative team building. rather than the mentality of brute forcing with meta characters. And extra content is always good. That's all it is. And people are saying, possibly extra resources JP didn't get either.
Yeah, no, and yeah, possibly additional or additional resources. Very, very good. And there is confirmed that we will at least get a free multi draw for those two banners. Whatever those two banners are, the assumption that I am making is it's Setzer and Waka and then the triple LDBT banner. So we will at least get a couple free multis this month as well. Arrow, any thoughts about the rest of the month, the upcoming content, etc.?
I mean, there's not too much. You guys already pretty much set it up, but I am excited to say that with the character board point things, with that extra Lufenia stuff, at least all of it, I think Joshua said it was all on the normal modes, so you do not need to be able to complete the Lufenias, which is good, because that means in that newer players joining the game, especially since it sounds like there's been some new players with Core's release, that they can get some resources to build some characters, which at least may help them to complete Chaos, which I welcome. So make their first month a lot more enjoyable that way. Those are my thoughts. No, I think already went, so I think back to you, Mark.
Yeah, shout out to Shadow Heart and Haunted Fenny. Those are the two others who, and Mother Lover, who subbed. There, I found that. Thank you all for your support. Of course, we appreciate if you would follow us. If you're watching us live, give us a follow on Twitch. And if you want to support us with a Twitch Prime or Tier 1 sub, appreciate that. As we transition from the SQEX community stream, not a lot to talk about today, to the Immortal One, want to share a community spotlight. And maybe Arrow and Mino have some other people, but one person I think really just needs some love is RVK FC DFFOO on YouTube, or RVK as we say, but RVK FC DFFOO Stadium RVK, yeah, no, RVK FC DFFOO on YouTube, making short, sweet, hilarious content there. So it really, really good. I think maybe just less than 100 subscribers so far. So go to RVK FC DFFOO. Give them a sub, give them a like. The videos are so well done, so funny. We've talked about everybody else who's doing funny stuff, but they're short, they're sweet, they're hilarious. Really, they deserve a lot more love and a lot more support than they're getting. At least get to 1,000 subs. That's kind of the first hurdle for all of our content creators. Once you get to 1,000 subs, then you can open up a few other things. So. Just hit Leafblade Mouse says they just hit 100. So awesome, but way, way underrated for the kind of quality and just, again, short, funny, just simple quality. So go there, check them out. Mino, anybody you want to spotlight tonight?
So I know Raw Life has started to do a trio stream thingy with Hype Zoe and Blartanian. Names that should be familiar to anybody in our community, in our Discord. And I think he's announced that he's going to be doing weekly streams on Monday with those two. And they're going to do a little chat, play with the audience thing and make that a regular thing. So I just wanted to shout that out because while I don't like Raw Life very much as a person, I think he's a pretty fantastic member of the community. Very, very supportive, and he gets a lot of people. He draws a lot of people in, helps a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, check that out. That's every Monday, right? Blart and Zoe and Raw and what they're doing there as they get some steam as well. Arrow, anybody you want to shout out this week? That's at that's at 8:30 Eastern Time. 8:30 Eastern Time Monday nights. You can check out those streams. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I don't have anyone this week. It's been kind of hectic. I'm sorry. I hope to have somebody to share next week, though. That'll be my goal.
We will hold you to that. All right, well, let's transition from the SQEX community stream to what we all want to talk about, which is the immortal one, the DFFOO first character, Core, the Marshal from Final Fantasy 15. Everyone who's saying, who the heck is this guy? Apparently you haven't played the most recent Final Fantasy game, because he's a fairly significant part of it. He actually is in your party, like as anybody is in for a time, just like Aranea. Obviously, Final Fantasy 15 did not get the kind of love that it needed to get the kind of follow-ups it needed. But if you there are times in the story that Core comes into your party, and he is very active in the story. There's obviously lots of lore, but he's also very involved in the Gladiolus download DLC, just like Aranea is in the Prompto DLC. So if you want to know more about Core, just watch somebody's YouTube of the Gladiolus if you don't have it, if you can't play it, the Gladiolus DLC, because it's actually, the Gladiolus DLC was a lot of fun, and Core and Gladio back and forth was, I thought, really good. Just like I think I actually liked the Prompto and the Gladiolus DLC better than I think the main stories. I think I enjoyed both of those subquests more than that, because I really do like RNA, and Core is kind of cool. So who is Core? Core is a very unique character. I won't go over his kit in excruciating detail, but you can also look at the beautiful infographic at Tonberry Troupe, tonberrytroupe.com. If you want to do that, our friend Jin Lee has a really fun how to play. But Core is what they called on stream a linked attacker. So he kind of links with another character in the party. His skill 1 and skill 2 apply a buff to one ally, which gives them boosted stats, prevents break on them, and prevents damage on them, and allows him to have a additional attack, is what it's called in game, before their actions. We are referring to it as a preemptive strike because additional attack is kind of close to additional ability in my mind. And so he attacks before they attack after you press the button. His EX, because by the time he comes out in JP, EXs will be enhanced. And so his EX is pretty lame, actually, but it does apply the buff to himself. So he is unbreakable. He is buffed. He has damage reduction. And so 2 of your party members, pretty much for the entire fight, because Core has a ton of skills, are going to be unbreakable. So pretty freaking amazing, actually. And his LD is super fast, instant turn rate. It might be free turn. It's at least instant turn rate. Gives him the overhead buff, which he starts with, of course, if you have it fully limit broke. Gives him 10 stacks of it. Every time he gets 10 stacks of it, he gets a special attack, which is a rainbow attack and does the full brave damage. So if you use LD, you immediately can do the rainbow attack, which is a free turn, free action, instant turn, free action, excuse me. And every time you build up 10 stacks, because every time you counter, you get a stack, you get another one of those things. So you're not going to be using that rainbow attack often. It's called Reaper's Gale, and the LD is Reflorescer, which is something about reblooming in Spanish, I think. So fun. But yeah, I'm really excited about him. He's just about fits with anything. He's good on your standard primary damage dealer, primary support, 3rd slot character team. He's good on your launch team. He's good on your Brave Battery team. He's good on a primary damage dealer tank team. He's good on a team with primary damage dealer debuffers. He's just about good everywhere. I actually think, I listened to the ranting hour last night. I know BC is hesitant about how good he thinks he is, given the content that is coming over the next month, which is heavy delay, very high turn count. But I actually think, given the fact that most people are going to pull for Cloud of Darkness and Tidus, Core is going to be really, really quite helpful in all of the future content this month and next month, because he's free damage. He's free damage, prevents breaks, does actually great auras to the party, outside of the buff that he puts on the party. So I'm really big on him. I blued his armor. I'm not encouraging everybody to do that, but I think he's really quite useful, and I think he's going to be useful for a long time. We can talk about this skill ceiling to play him better or worse, but because at least in co-op, I've seen some variations of play that are pretty hilarious. And even online and streaming and things, I've seen some variations of play. So he might not be as brain dead, but I even think he's pretty simple just to not mess up a lot. But I'm really hot on him. I think he's a really, really solid character. Definitely kind of a third slot character, but yeah, believe me, he's doing a lot. He's just bringing a lot to the table, and I think he's a really, really solid character. Mino, what do you think of Core?
They picked the biggest weeb in the Final Fantasy universe to appease you weebs. I hope you're very happy about this wannabe samurai. This is such a weeb-ass character. Holy shit. But gameplay-wise, So as Mark said, we've been discussing for half the week with among the players I respect. There's no consensus yet. People are split one way or the other, right? First point, little spoiler alert on the fight is this fight is very undertuned.
Oh, so
because,
easy.
It caps at 50% brave damage reduction. We haven't seen numbers like that since the first month or two of Lufenia. So this is almost like, ooh, this is they very, very low resistance bosses with a very easy orb, no resistances, no immunities. Like, not sure if they took this event from JP and tuned it down to really sell the character, or it could just be a result of taking a Lufenia fight from an era where Lufenia isn't the end game anymore.
I was going to say,
really
what's the reality, and maybe some of our JP players can tell us, moving forward, are Lufenias actually easier than our current Lufenias because Lufenia Plus is a thing? Yeah, that's what I would assume, is that, basically by the time we get to Lufenia Plus, Lufenia is kind of like ours. But yeah, it may have been undertuned as well. And I think that was a good, if they did dial it back, dialed the defense back, dialed the damage reduction back, good on them. That was a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I like I always say, and I've been saying for years, is err in favor of the players, right? Making the players OP is way better than crushing them, especially if you're trying to suck them in with like a GL first or something. So let me tackle the broad strokes first. As Mark was saying, I think this character has a very high skill ceiling, but I also think the floor is so high, it's not going to matter. Whether you do the super advanced techniques of applying his buff on both allies with the friend switch, you'll see a small increase, sure. If you unga bunga press buttons, I'm sure you're going to clear Edward Lufenia in half the turn count also. Like, I really think he's just so powerful. It's like Eldnarsh, if Eldnarsh hit for max damage every turn.
Did
right?
damage, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like everyone knows there's a big difference between how you play Eldnarsh, and I've seen it with core already too, right? People are posting lots and lots of core runs, so many core runs, and you can see people running the exact same team on the exact same fights are getting drastically different turn counts. I've seen a core run on one of the LC Lufenia fights that are 16 turns, and then the same one with the same team that's over 40 turns.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there is a lot of room for optimization. And props to Square Enix for this. This is keeping you theory crafting nerds really busy. theory crafting about stuff that isn't that important, honestly.
Yeah, right. As long as you get, like, you don't get extra rewards for beating the fight in 16 turns. Like, as long as you get under the turn count, it doesn't matter.
Right. And I'm saying, like, what a great character, because
Yeah.
it's keeping the hardcore nerds very happy, and for the most casual of players, Macno was sending me a link to some of these new players using core and clearing content that they couldn't very easily without knowing what they were doing. So very, very strong for the casual audience and busy enough to keep the hardcore audience busy. And
well, I mean, that's what core has the ability to make your low turn count, your delay teams, your no boss turn teams just do more damage. But he also has the ability to be very protective in an offensive team so that you're not getting broken, you're not taking damage, and you can give the boss turn. So if you're not that kind of player or you're not playing that kind of team, he's going to come on and protect you from, he's going to cover up a lot of your mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He fits everywhere. That's why I find these conversations of who best to pair him with so tedious, because he goes with anyone. They're like, oh, launch team, yeah, he can jump in front of people, prevent breaks to keep the order, and he recovers brave on his follow-up, so he's always batteried. Yeah, turn stealers, like Mark said, you can no-turn enemies, he'll get most of his follow-ups. Counter teams, he'll get most of his follow-ups. Like, there's no wrong way to play him. The skill floor is so high, it's really hard to fuck up. So that's why I don't really want to go too into depth. This is a carry character. This character is, at least in right now, is carrying damage.
Yeah.
Everyone who was saying that they were having trouble meeting some of these turn counts in our last Hell month, running core through, they're not even playing optimally in the slightest, and they're crushing these turn counts. Like, this is just a carry character. I don't care how you play him. He's a pretty fucking strong character that's annihilating all old content. So that aside, and that's always great, right? Like, that's what you want in a GL first. A perfect third slot that you can slap anywhere, regardless of what you wanted to call Aranea. You throw her with any two characters as a third slot, she's going to carry that team. So, like, we're like, the GL first should always be a great third slot, one that's very easy to be very powerful. And as a term I'm seeing a lot recently is favorite enabler. Call back to what I was saying earlier. A lot of people are saying, I play Dissidia to play my favorites and stomp content. That's not why I play, but that's a perfectly valid reason to play. And if that is how a lot of people play, then that is a perfect character to sell people. Sell an OP character so they can get Freya through another Lufenia, right? And especially then that means everyone wants him, right? Again, the hardcore players want to nerd out and try to find optimal play, and the casual players can pull him to enable their favorites. So very, very good decision. Always err on the side of players. I'm very into that. So
yeah, in short, core is reverse Yang.
Reverse Eldnarsh, I'm going to stick with that. I really very strongly believe reverse Eldnarsh, because they thrive on all attacks, except Eldnarsh shuts them down. Core gets more hits. It's I'm not going to go into that. That's for the post show.
He's definitely a tank, though. I think we can all agree he's definitely a tank.
That's for the post show. Yeah. But I just want to finish up my time with while I said we don't like to go into the nitty-gritty, the one thing I did research, because people like to throw that around since we're talking about Yang, is the follow-ups. In a vacuum, I tested, and you've probably heard on the ranting hour, Mark, is that Yang actually, he hits for the same amount of hits.
Yeah.
Yang in a vacuum hits harder, and Yang batteries himself by quite a bit every follow-up. So Yang's follow-up in a vacuum is actually stronger, right? Core's is weaker by itself, but Core's is easier to apply, and that's the theme of the day, right? Like, ease of use. Yang is, you can't pair Yang with anyone. You pair him with slow characters like Wall and Garland, you're not going to get nearly as much. Yep. You can't keep it up the entire fight, and there's more conditionals to it, like attacks have to go off, whereas core just needs the enemy to target, even if they're paralyzed or whatever. That's how you run them on like no turn teams, right? Or right, it's just much easier to use core is the thing. And then moving forward to what we were talking about, future proof is what all these people are saying. I'm leaning on the side that he can be very strong. There are doubters like BC and Macnol, I think, are on the other side. And Macnol was showing us streams today of very new players or the average player who's not like a Lufenia Stomper using core in fights outside of synergy with 80% brave reduction, and core's follow-ups are hitting 30 to 60k, which is still, significant.
Yeah.
But they're like, the argument is this doesn't stop people from run synergy stomp. Like if you're going to synergy stomp, if you're Mark and you have every character and you have the ability to synergy stomp through fights, it's probably better to synergy stomp than bring core moving forward, which is the argument. Because apparently this whole next month, COD and TDIS cycles, we're seeing 80% plus brave damage reductions. And then you hit Lufenia plus, and then 90% brave damage reductions are the norm. So they're saying that his damage without rainbows is going to fall off pretty hard with the testing. I'm saying you can build around that. They're saying, is building around that worth the effort? And is core going to be the best choice, regardless, than just bringing the best up-to-date units? That's the debate we have going forward. It's very split. Nobody can make it up, but at least for right now, and if you want to take it back and stomp old content, he's fantastic, and that's really all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And then the fight. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say my prediction, and you somebody can clip it if you want to hold my butt to the fire here. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to take your 2-week synergy plus core plus orb management for the next 2 months and be fine. Like with your existing roster, just pull the 2-week synergy, add core, and whatever you need for orb management, and you'll be okay. I mean,
yeah, Silo Khan's highlighted a message. I didn't feel like we need to go into this, but he wanted to just shout it out, saying Core's LD and HB pluses are instant turns, so you can get a big burst phase with him, or he can milk other people's auras and effects. Right. Like, yeah, he has his own utility. And then finally, what I wanted to say is that there are some people complaining about Core making it into the game besides before other playable characters. Well, first I wanted to say that there's interviews saying that Core was intended to be a 5th playable character back when it was versus 13. They really wanted it. They cut him for time.
Like Galif. I mean, he's kind of it's the same kind of story arc, right?
Yeah. So like Core was always intended to be a playable character, and honestly, that puts him ahead of characters like Red 13, who were not intended to be playable characters in FF7 Remake, and they even got a second shot with the interlude, and instead of putting him in, they put in Yuffie before him, right? So intended playable character versus deliberately left out character, Core 100% deserve to make it in before Red 13. Arrow, your thought? Yeah, Arrow, your thought.
No worries. I do love Core, but since we've said so much positive, I gotta point out a couple of negatives. There are characters Core doesn't work all that well with. If you are you got Palom, I tried playing around with that. No, that's a terrible idea. Don't do it. He will steal like those breaks from you, and that's terrible. So characters who need to break to do their thing don't really want Core in their party. Yeah. Now, there's not too many of these characters, but they exist. So, your Palom. Aranic kind of sort of works and kind of sort of doesn't. So just kind of keep that in mind. I think it's mainly on skill 1. I think the issue comes up with her having issues getting the re-break thing. But otherwise, yeah, it kind of works out fine. But I'm trying to think of other characters.
Yeah, Scott shares on breaks. Scott shares the list here. Null, Lightning, Aranea, Cloud of Darkness to some extent, and Arden. Definitely Lightning and Arden and are 2 of the bigger ones.
To add on to that, though, because this is from a conversation in our Discord in the TCC Challenge channel, where they were talking about, people are running Lightning Core duos and Ardent Core duos, and I remember someone's like, "Isn't this bad because he's taking breaks?"
No.
And the thing is, back to square one, he's so OP it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He can take the breaks. Like, what do you want? Like, would you rather have Core do this damage or Palom take another turn? Right? Like, do you really want to give your inferior characters more turns?
But why are you bringing that? I don't know. I'm one of those things where it may matter later. It's just something to keep in mind, especially if you are a fan of some of those characters. There's still people running Arden through stuff even without Core. So I mean, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, it's just things that you want to have there. But otherwise, I mean, the guy's like insane. Like, I mean, like you could just, once you build around it correctly, or even like only half do it right, he's just pumping out some numbers. And I blued his armor. Like I said, I saw that video and I was like, there are so many things I can do with that. I'm going to have to get that character. I thought Core was all right though in FF15 too. But I don't know what else to really say. A lot of it's been covered. I think he's one of those characters where newer players will appreciate him, but he's also like that thing where you can, if you want to, you can grow and learn. Like once you actually can sit down and have to, if you need to learn boss mechanics, you can then better abuse some of his skill things and all that. So you can get better additional attacks and all that. So you're just clearing content more efficiently. I think that's a good thing. So I always support that. And I think he is a good character choice. I know some people are like, who's this guy? But I think he was a good choice for Global First. My only nitpick is that our last Global First was also a FF15 character, and then we just got another one. I know it's a minor thing, but it's just kind of like, maybe you guys should have picked a different title, just cause. But
Raichian is saying, when we're talking about break characters, that isn't that the situation with any counter character? No, because Core will break before the lightning. He would break before she has the opportunity to break and get the free action. So when she presses her button, she would normally break, get the free action. He will break ahead of her. So, it's like when you're running with a party and there's always that one dude who steals all the treasure before you get a chance to do anything else. Yeah, it's kind of like that. He kind of comes in and steals the breaks away from there. Sorry, Rio, just wanted to.
Yeah, no, that was a great comment. And then, John Belmont's also following up, and he says that Ardent and Lightning not taking a free turn and instead have Core dealer damage can save on longevity. And this age, and their damage is about less than Core jumping in. I don't know, because Lightning has all those free turns, so there is that to argue for. She kind of makes up for it with that still to this day and age. But Arden, yeah, he's not holding up the same way he used to. But, he did his job already for months on end. What else is there to say? I think he's the kind of character, if you want to learn how to, delve a little deeper into the game, yeah, he's there for you. But if you already know what you're doing, he's going to be a lot of fun to play with. So many characters and so many play styles. And honestly, that's what makes good characters so good. When they can work with so many different strategies, that makes them what we call meta. That at the end of the day, that's what makes them a good choice and your roster to take along with you. That's generally my thoughts. I think he has I love that. The other thing I want to point out is that he has that really fun gameplay where if you think you can abuse it right, you could have him just take all those back-to-back turns from LD and then the HP plus with the Reaper Gale and then go back and do it all over again. That's fun. There's a lot to be said for that. So depending on what's going on in the fight, that might be even possible to do back-to-back and you're good to go.
Yeah. Chaos Blast makes a good point. If you're running him with Lightning or Aranea or Null or anybody else like that, you can put the buff on the other character who's not that character.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that's a real big brain. That's a real big brain. Or you could just not, you do have 3 characters on your team and he can only buff one of them. But there are some girl was, because someone else was asking, what happens to the characters that unbreak or cancel the break status, like Aranea, and Aranea cancels the break status before Core preemptive strikes. then he breaks, and then she would not break.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he does screw, and I don't know if she gets her overhead buff. So there are some interactions like that you really want to look at, if you're interested in that. Another interaction that's fun is if you use one of his buffs. What's the buff called? One of or no, is it the crown? Yeah. What's the one that he gives the party? Oath of Absolute Defense. So that's the buff he gives to the party member. If you give it to a party member who then you swap out for a friend and then put the buff on the other party member, when your original party member swaps back in, both people will have the buff. So that's a interaction that we have found. So if you put the buff on the other party member, the main party member, while the friend unit is in play, then the other character comes in with the buff, and it's fine until you reapply the buff. So you'll just have to not reapply the buff until you want to, basically. So there's some interesting interactions. How does he work with this character, that character? But yeah. Overall, he's going to work with everybody. He works with debuffers because he doesn't apply any debuffs. He works with other buffers because he only applies one buff to one party member. I mean, he's going to find, a new thing. So I think even though he might be a little bit more complicated for newer players or players whose skill level is not particularly high, he's also pretty easy to just throw in and help you not die. Maybe more so than some other characters we currently have access to who are being touted as there's a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype for Porum. Does Porum at this point really make you not die as much? There's a lot of hype for Cloud of Darkness, and she is not easy to play, and at this next point doesn't really get a lot until her BT plus, and by that time you're not going to BT plus Cloud of Darkness unless Cloud of Darkness is one of your favorite characters, which is not a thing. And then people are hyping Setzer, and again, Setzer is not a help you survive content button. He is a do big damage button. So I mean, I really think Core provides both offensive potential for people who want to bash up content and also defensive potential for people who might be more prone to making mistakes or newer to the game or still learning the mechanics. And he's going to protect you in ways that it definitely, Cloud of Darkness, definitely a good friend unit. But Porum does make you not die, but not necessarily an easy button at this moment. Give her a couple months. All right, well, let's look to the podcast polls. Thank you to Quetzalma of MateriaBot for setting up this impromptu podcast poll on 6 global servers. 2 people going to pity on this. Man, we told you, don't. I think Arrow said it. Don't pity Lael's BT on Porum. Don't do it. We might get a banner. It might have Lael. Don't do it. Might be a GL first. Don't do it. People did it. And then they're like, oh, you listen to us. We know what we're talking about. So I apologize to anybody who had to do that. I hope you didn't get the LD or the BT again, I guess. I don't know. 52 pitying the LD. 12 people using gems. 32 using tickets like myself. And 2 brave souls. I'm going to look and see who their names are. 2 brave souls said they were skipping, probably because they don't have any resources. I would encourage everybody, if you have the 75,000 gems or a few hundred tickets, I think he's a great pickup unit, and I think he's going to be helpful here for the next few months, especially. So, 2 liars. Well, we also got an event. It's a short and sweet event that we will get a rerun of. Remember, we'll get the rerun of this event with Lufenia Plus, etc. It won't be a lost chapter next time, just like with our other 2 GL first, Beatrix and Aranea. And so, hey, you'll save yourself a pull, except who's on this banner? Noctis and Rem. Oh, so is Rem LD on this? Isn't she already happen?
Her LDs in JP just
already
came out.
Yeah, already. So so it will probably be repeat. unless there's a new weapon type by core. So you can save yourself a banner, I guess.
Point out the GL first banners were never the same in JP when they came back.
Oh, you're right. Correct. You're correct. Yes, thank you. They did change them. So, Pikachu says, I pulled a mark and pitied Leo BT on Porum, then pulled Leo BT on tickets going for core. Yep, that sucks. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, Pikachu. Sorry about that. But so it goes. So there's a Lufenia. It is the Babby Lufenia of all the Lufenias we've ever fought. I don't. You can go to Dissidia Info. Macnell had to do this, so definitely go to DissidiaInfo.com and check out the Lufenia guide. You fight a liquid warrior and a liquid sword. Final Fantasy 13 type enemies. At 49% of the main character's health, the liquid warrior, a Lufenia orb appears, and it gets +4 every time a player triggers an additional attack from another character. So that would be like from Core, from Yang, from Noctis, from Cloud of Darkness. So pretty easy. You could even bring a friend Core. Pretty easy. There are some other mechanics. I don't even think they're worth mentioning because you could pretty much get anybody and their mom through this fight. It is not difficult. There's not a lot of brave damage reduction, brave gain reduction. This is a playground, I think maybe Blartanian said on the stream last night. This is a playground for your current roster. So you can bring everybody you want. And, I saw Jin Lee on his How to Play Core did Noctis, Yang, and Core for triple additional attacks, which was kind of funny. I brought Kadaj, Sephiroth, and Core because, of course, I have to use Kadaj now because I was so upset about how he didn't work well. So it's not, I have to use him forever. So I have been. But yeah, this should be a nice respite. Again, if you're having issues with it, you can go to DissidiaInfo.com, check out the boss guide. You can come on to the TCC Discord. There are plenty of people to help. But, definitely, definitely not the most difficult fight we've had. Mino, thoughts about this?
Nah, garbage time.
Yeah, it's garbage time. Arrow, what are your thoughts on this?
Especially with Core out now. Garbage time.
Forever.
I mean, he has a lot of health, but like it blow through it. It was so wild. I ran the thing like a couple of different times with different teams, and I thought 15 million HP or whatever I think is what they say it has. It doesn't feel like 15 million HP. But I mean, at this point, we're starting to get a lot of ways to increase HP damage up the wazoo. So yeah, just bring some characters that can do decent damage. And maybe a Core friend or Yang friend for the orb if you don't have either. And you should be pretty good to go. It's not that bad of a fight, honestly. I'm kind of okay. I think I was on the fence of how to feel about this Lufenia. And then I was like, well, on one hand, maybe it's good because we have had a lot of newer players joining again in the past month or two. So maybe this could be their first Lufenia, and that's okay if that wound up being this wound up being their first one. It's a global first fight. Hey, this isn't like was that Balthier Lufenia thing where in that Abyss where you had to have Balthier in the team, even with just base kit at least to deal with like the fight. So I'm okay with this. It's fine because there's going to be a couple of crazy fights. And if you don't have the synergy character, like if you don't have Cloud of Darkness, you don't have Titus or whatever, Titus, however you want to say it. These fights might be really hard going forward. There's going to be a couple of very restrictive Lufenias coming up. So having this one breather before all that, that's cool. I'm all right with it. We needed it every now and then. We need a breather. So those are my thoughts on the Lufenia.
Yeah,
I think everybody else is already gone. So back to you, Mike.
Bishop 71 says the TCC challenge should be the community has to post a run using every character in DFFOO. There you go. Scott's already on that. I think he's got about 20 runs under his belt. So yeah, let's go to the call to arms and see if we can get all 150. How many characters do we have now? All 150 characters represented in the call to arms. See if we can get all 147. So let's see if we can get all 147 characters represented in the call to arms. Good luck. And if we do, we'll get 1,000 gems and 20 armor tokens. And I don't know. We won't get anything. We'll give away something, I guess. So go on to DissidiaFFOO.com, submit your runs. One run with every character represented, all 147 characters, and we'll do a giveaway. We will. I'll go on record in saying that. Well, hey, good luck to you. A lot of fun, great character. Looking forward to using him in the past. Again, my feedback is you should pick him up. GL first equals pity. I stick with that. If you have the resources, do it. I understand most of you don't, and you shotgun pull, so you already pulled anyway. So we're all on the same page. All right. Well, Mino, did you have a topic for discussion? I saw you wrote something in the outline to start off our host discussions.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Square Enix and Josh did a great job this stream. And to contrast with the outrage we've had for the last 2 weeks all over, and the criticism is back to the topic of constructive criticism is you're not harassing or yelling just to yell. At some point, like, we have to acknowledge both the good and the bad. And honestly, as I was saying with BC, we were very, very pleasantly surprised at how quickly things turned around and how much was addressed. As we said, right? Like the stream format and the co-ops, the known issues popping up, getting fixed, them addressing everything, the GL first, more content, everything's just really turned around, right, Mark? Like, Mark, you were pretty angry last week. You were pretty angry. Your rant was longer than mine last week. And I want to ask how you feel now, but I do want to say that while we will be critical when we feel like things aren't going well, I feel like it's only fair to also praise when things are going very well. And the last thing I want to add onto that is just feedback takes time to incorporate.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw that out there for all like the really knee-jerk reactions. For example, like Lufenia Plus, right, is what I really want to bring up. And when we get to that era, and GL had it with the Hell Month earlier too. It's just that when things are bad, it takes time to fix. If Lufenia Plus launched overtuned, and then people were saying, like, the second month, it was still a little overtuned, and people were still angry saying they didn't listen to us, it didn't change anything, the turnaround isn't that quick, guys. They're not gonna have one bad month and the next month is magically better. The release timelines and stuff, it takes a little bit. And now Lufenia Plus is in a much different place, and people withdrew their feedback. Sometimes things take a while to change. And I want everyone to keep that in mind moving forward when we reach tougher times, because during the Hell Month, right, people were saying they want to quit in the Hell Month. And I'm like, JP, we can see 8 months ahead. We can see this isn't permanent. This is a very temporary window where the fights were very rough and the turn counts were very low. It only lasted a month. Like, hang in there and just try not to have these knee-jerk reactions, State of Lufenia's pluses when we reach there. And we're having the opposite now with Core, thank God. The opposite of State of Lufenia. We got State of Core now. Oh, game. Oh my God, I've seen so many bad takes, and I've seen people like, oh, they must have released Core because they've known fights were too hard now, so they threw them out there to let us. Nah, it's just just realize things take time to implement. But yeah, Mark, you were super angry. How are you feeling about Square Enix after the stream?
Yeah, no, I 180 degrees. I love SQEX. I've always loved SQEX. I do. I think I think the last stream was kind of rough, and the last month was a little rough. The miscommunication was a little rough. And the communication has improved. The issues were addressed and fixed. We are getting new content. We are getting updated content. We are getting GL first content. The stream was very, very smooth. So I mean, pretty much everything we talked about, I think was really addressed. And yeah, I mean, it breathes a little fresh air into the game. And like you said, a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm back in the game. I'm interested in the game again. And so, I mean, that's good. That's good for the game. So are they intending to fix Kurasame's LC map? I just think that's that goes back to the Kurasame manga, the way the manga is margined. And so that's just supposed to allow you to like live into the manga-esque expression of his story. So yeah, I think that sounds right. That sounds right. Zach's BT and BT Plus were just released in JP in terms of the video, and so apparently it's got some feels. It's got some feels.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's got some feels. So we'll talk about that in the post show. But yeah, I feel great. A good week for the game. We do have there was 12 days between Porum, 12 days between Dimensions End Tier 3 and Divine Brothers. And so the core event kind of coming in between is really nice, gives us something to talk about. The next community stream is not till like the 31st, the very end, or maybe the 30th, very end of next month, but it's going to be a pretty packed month. There's not a lot of 5 days. There's only about 5 days between content at most, so good pacing this month. A lot of hype. I mean, we'll talk about it here in a minute, but some really interesting units. So yeah, I'm excited. Arrow, any thoughts?
Not about this last stream. I appreciated that it didn't seem to take as long after that whole thing where the co-ops were taking so long with the Caius airplane Bahamut thing. I tuned out. I remember tuning out on that. So this time I actually really stuck it out all the way. Thank you for that. It was far better. The flow felt a lot smoother. And that was a blessing, because it's best if you can keep people wanting to stay tuned in. And it didn't run an hour and a half long or anything like that. I think it was only about an hour long.
Yeah, a little less.
Thank God, because it's about all I have time for most of the time if I'm able to catch the streams. So, because I have other things I want to do throughout my day. I don't want to sit down trying to dig through co-ops. If I were to come as a post watcher, even, like, I don't want to have to flip through half of the time or more than half of the time because of co-ops, like I like them, but I don't want to I don't like how that airplane thing went with the Chaos Bahamut. So I have nothing but good things. If we can keep it about an hour long going forward, that would be awesome from the SQEX community streams. Those are my thoughts. Back to you, Mark.
Yeah, one topic I want to talk about, I just want to get the awareness out before the Cloud of Darkness hype train rolls in. It's already started to roll in.
Mark, if you're going to switch topics, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Sure. I don't know why I'm still seeing this, and I'm seeing it a lot, but Square Enix Crystal is getting a lot of hate for quote-unquote not participating in the stream enough or not playing the game enough. This is fucking ridiculous, guys. Like, we're lucky Josh even plays the game as much as he does. I've seen community managers for other games. Lots of them, it's their job to just read the news. The fucking Ope girls don't fucking play the game.
I guarantee they do not play the game. I guarantee neither of them have even ever touched the game.
So much hate for somebody doing their job is so fucking ridiculous.
Well, even Joshua being, I mean, again, we don't have a complete picture of all the different projects these people are working on, what they are doing from day to day. Like, yeah, I mean, or, are they even full time, or we don't know any of that information. So I think like we've said in the past, Joshua obviously feels more comfortable if there's another person there. I get it because, it's a lot easier to stream with somebody else present than it is to stream by yourself, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I mean, who cares if she's never played the game? Who cares? She's there. She's part of our community stream. She's part of the company. Whatever. I mean, I don't like. I just. That's just complete ridiculousness. How does it impact your experience whether Crystal plays the game or not? She's there. She's like moral support. She's the whatever the boy robot from Nier is to the girl robot. I'm sorry, I'm playing Nier. The weebs know what I'm talking about. That's behind every good SQEX community manager is another SQEX community manager. I think that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Come on, you guys. I don't know what the fuck you guys do. But
Evil Kong, how come you don't put the topics on the screen anymore? Because I have the chat box going in the thing. That's why. So
we probably should. That's probably a nice. We'll look into that. But thanks for the feedback. And I just want to say I don't know what the fuck you guys doing, but yeah, don't hate on someone that they get to sit there and make their money for an hour on the stream. Like that's not her fault. It's her job to be there. You wish you could fucking sit there and make an hour's pay on that. Leave my future wife alone.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that comment.
Yeah.
Mina, I agree. Like, what? She's there. She says a couple things. It's just nice seeing two people talking to you, even if she doesn't play. Who cares? Why are y'all being so critical about it? Ask yourself that more than anything. And I feel like Crystal's got nothing but flags since she's come on. Like, dude, that first stream when she joined, like, so many people were being so creepy on that stream. I refuse to even go on regular SQEX streams anymore because I just see so much, like, just weird crap said to Crystal, like, from people being creepy or just overly critical. It's obnoxious. Like, I hate looking at it, and I can't be the only one who feels this way. So thanks to all you other lovely people who host the stream, and I don't have to look at that chat anymore because it was making me uncomfortable, in all seriousness. So that's my thoughts.
If you develop a relationship with someone online and the consensual relationship allows you to talk to each other like that privately, in whatever means the kids do that these days, good for you. But yeah, you don't come on random professional streams and talk like that to random people. It's not appropriate. Don't do it. It's creepy and wrong. Don't do it. So, we love Crystal, Crystal forever, and I miss Rachel. I don't know what happened to her. if you remember the time Rachel was on, that was also inappropriate. Lots of inappropriate stuff. Yeah. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite Ninja Turtle? Two different questions. My favorite color is green. My favorite Ninja Turtle is Raphael. So, obviously, like, what am I going to say, Leonardo? Come on, people. We are going to be talking about Zach Burst in the post show because this is a GL stream. So, let me get back to the microphone. Rachel's gone. Oh, Rachel, we miss you. Let us know. Is Rachel okay? Is Rachel okay? I think she's okay. But let's make sure that she is. So, we got a lot of hype for a lot of characters. Got to pull Y'shtola because her BT Plus is awesome. Got to pull Bartz because his BT Plus is awesome. You got to get Cloud of Darkness. You may not like her or how she plays or she's not real great. Oh, that's a good one, Bart. But yeah, her BT Plus is great. So here's the thing about BT Plus. I don't even know if we need to have any discussion about this. I just want to get it out as much as possible. Look at how many blue books you have. Blue armor books and ingots. How many blue armors do you have? Now, assume that's how many BT pluses you're going to have or less. Because I didn't even realize this. I thought if you booked a BT, you got the BT plus effect, and then it got better the more ingots you put into it. You do not get to use the BT plus effect until it is green or fully limit broke, 3 ingots, book and 3 ingots. So you're not going to be able to have 6 BT pluses in the second month of BT plus era. So you're not going to use Clouded Darkness BT plus. The idea of pulling a character for their BT plus is ridiculous unless it is a BT plus character. So stop it. Don't buy into the hype. It is misinformation. It is bad information, and it's information that's not going to be useful to you, because you're probably, maybe you'll pick Bartz, maybe you'll pick Y'shtola, maybe you'll pick one of them. You don't probably need either of them, but maybe you'll pick one of them. They're both fairly solid picks. But you're not going to green Zidane. You're not going to green Ace, who is super awesome. I don't know why people aren't hyping him up. I mean, there's a lot of BT plus characters that are going to come out. Twins are super good. Vayne is not bad. But there's going to be a lot of characters coming out in that early first couple months. You're not going to be able to green more than maybe 2 of them in those first 2 months. So here they are: Zidane, Y'shtola, Ace, Bartz, Vayne, Clouded Darkness. That's 2 months, and you're going to get, thank you Illuminosa for the subscription, you're going to get maybe 2 of those green. So just think about that as you're hype pulling on characters that you don't know what they do. You probably won't like what they do. They're not that super awesome. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying hoard everything else. And then, you end up, in these eras here where JP's getting a lot of hype, like Cloud, Squall, Zach, all right next to each other. So you're going to have to think about, okay, who do I want to save a couple resources for future BT plus characters? And so really, really think about that, as opposed to I'm pulling for a character for BT plus later. That's just not good advice. It's never been good advice. Don't take it. If you really want the character and you don't get it, then you get it later. So, Mino, any thoughts on that?
Slightly related is that, with Ink dropping numbers in the chat and you talking about the limited amount of BT pluses and how BT pluses have a lot of lasting power compared to other weapons, right? Because like right now, Lufenia plus is in semi-garbage time as long as you're combining 2 BT pluses. And so like you could run any fucking BT plus for months and months and months. And I was just thinking like, and with how scarce, Drusane would say, I don't think that's a real word, with how scarce these BT plus ingots are.
Scarcity. That is a real term. Scarcity.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's
the opposite of abundance.
So something can be scarce.
They release 8 BT pluses every 2 months, and you can only MLB 3 out of 8 every 2 months. With how quote unquote scarce the resource is, and with how much lasting power they have, I feel like it's finally something that's very, very worthwhile spending money on. Like, it's very encouraging to, like, if BC wants to, he got dick slapped in the face by a surprise Zach BT plus of a favorite, and he doesn't have the resources, he probably would be very very tempted to spend money on it. I think it's probably the best money value for.
Wait, is dick slap in the face the reverse of suck my dick twice? Is that how that works? I don't.
Yeah, I hope BC gets dick slapped in the face twice. Anyways, what we're saying is, I think they found a very good balance on cost versus return on investment with BT pluses and those ingot bundles. Whereas I forgot to mention, people were saying in chat when you were talking about the blue ingot bundles or the the high armor plus bundles, is that you're getting less gems than usual. And a lot of and several people in chat were saying that's the only reason they didn't pull the trigger and buy it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say little expensive for my taste, because you need the $75 one for the book.
Yep.
Right. And I'm pretty sure obviously this is a higher tier, but in the old tiers, it was a $37 pack for the book. And
yeah,
I would
the difference with this, the blue, if we're talking the blue armor, it is a book and 2 ingots as opposed to a book and 1 ingot.
Yeah. Which is fair, but I'm saying I think the cutoff for the book is the 75.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so I know it's a higher, but if it was 37 for the book and 9K gems, I would have got it. And people in chat were saying, hell, they don't even need that. They just wanted the equivalent number of gems.
Yeah, I think
Then they
the
would've got it,
normal, of course, those are like sale chests, are 17,000 something like that in that chest.
Yeah. So
only,
basically
it was 12,000 with the blue armor books.
Yeah, so there's no gem bonus as usual, like the costumes. It's the same. But yeah, I'm just saying, I feel like with this, it's personally a terrible, terrible price point for me. Like I wouldn't pay that. Some people said it barely breaks their threshold of not wanting to pay for it. And so we have what I think is the worst monetized item, and I think the BT pluses are probably the best monetized item because you can run that a lot, right? In the past, if you buy like EX plus ingots or if you buy these high armor plus ingots, who knows how long you'll run that character. Whereas BT pluses are characters you run for a very long time because they're the BT characters, right? So I think what a perfect balance of monetization. That's my only thought on it.
Yep, no gems. Give us no gems and just a book and 2 ingots for $36.99, and we'll buy 2 or 3 a month. 2 or 3. We'll buy several a month. There's a couple questions you wanted to address from the podcast questions, Mino?
They're all fucking terrible, but let me flip through it really quick.
You said we'll discuss tonight.
What did I say?
I'm happy with the I'm happy with the Kadaj, the way they wait. Are you happy with the Kadaj? This is from Squeegee. Are you happy with the Kadaj fix? What are your final thoughts on SQEX handled it? To what degree do you think the community played? I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but yeah, did you want to talk about that?
So I answered Dragon King X, and that was a very similar line of thought, but if you want to touch on it again, basically, how do you, because I already said how I thought it all went down. How do you think they handled it? Do you think they handled it well? Do you think the community played a big part in that? I already answered this.
I do. I think, again, initially we didn't go out and say, we said, oh, this is a problem, but we said it in our circles. We didn't provide the receipts. And then when we did kind of come back and, Caden and several other people really, really did that, then yeah, they addressed it. And so was it because of that? I think so. I think it's not, I don't think it's random that it happened right before the stream, because we wanted to put the emphasis on the GL first, and so I think that had something to play with it, knowing we want to put the emphasis on the GL first, and so the community starting to talk about this. Let's get this under control, and so I think there was a PR aspect there. So I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I think there was. I think what we did, what they did, I think there were things happening together that made that happen. So. I'm glad they did what they did, and moving forward, if things happen like this, if we notice issues, then we do the work. We make some videos, we share that on the feedback, and we put the message out, and hopefully they will continue to treat it like that.
Yeah, and reiterate what I was saying. I definitely think the community played a part. If you really thought that was just in the fix, no, they would have acknowledged it way sooner. I think it's very unrealistic to think that they were going to do it and the community played no part. And as I said, they addressed it relatively fast after it blew up into a movie. After things started getting really bad, it was a joint effort. Inc made the Reddit post. Tonberry Troupe was fighting it from the inside, and then BC and TCC gave the big platforms, and I'm sure all you lesser content creators did stuff too. I don't know. I don't watch your channels. Anything else, Mark?
I'm just going through the questions, and I don't like most of them.
They're all terrible. They're all. Well, I mean, listen,
yeah.
Didn't somebody ask that this was an answerable question? Somebody asked somebody we like, I forgot, said what
We like
what meta
everyone.
characters what meta characters
I thought we talked about that
did we?
already. Yeah.
Okay.
What meta characters did we get and never used or skipped? Arrow has skipped most of them, so I mean, we talk about that on a regular basis. I pull in everything, so the answer is none. Pikachu asks, "What do you call a woman who gets impregnated by Noctis?"
Luna Freya.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
because that's his wife.
it. Yeah.
Well, didn't somebody put the right answer? Should I just say the answer?
Yes, God.
Knocked up.
That's a
We
stretch.
should ban Pikachu.
That's a
posting in
stretch.
the global questions.
So if you have questions that don't suck, no, thank you all for your questions. We'll answer some of them. We won't answer all of them. If you have questions or topics for discussion that you would like us to consider, join our Discord, podcast questions. That is the great place for that. Thank you all. Looking ahead. Apparently I didn't finish writing this. Looking ahead, we have Divine Brothers on August 2nd, Gladio's Lost Chapter on August 6th, Queen's Event on August 10th, the Raid event with Titus LDBT on August 13th, Reno's Lost Chapter on the 17th. Just FYI, Gladio's Lost Chapter with Sabin, Reno's Lost Chapter with Rosa. A campaign event, which will be the Triple Perfectum, I believe, on the 20th. Boss Rush 5 on the 25th, and a campaign event, which will be, again, the Lufenia Perfectum on the 30th. The SQEX community stream is the end of August, the last Monday of August, which is August 30th. August 30th. So, thank you all. It's been an exciting week. It's been a good week. Stick around if you're live with us for the post show, and we'll put that out also as well. Make sure that you wait for this weekend, probably on Sunday, because we'll have a couple of days of videos here, for my August tier list, GL DFFOO tier list. That should be out on Sunday. It's already recorded and uploaded, but we'll wait until the banners are about to come. Thank you, Arrow. Thank you, Mino. Stick around for the post show all. This has been episode 160 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded July 29, 2021. If you're watching, again, like, sub, ring, follow, subscribe. Give us a good review. We appreciate all of you. Until next week, friends, this has been the Crystal Chronicles. Goodbye.